Hi everyone, Leah the trader here from TMAD, Trading Mindset and Data. Let's look at market prep for the week of May 26th after Memorial Day. Hope you had all good weekend and we're gonna have a short 4-day week. There is some crazy news coming through the weekend. We had Saturday news from the president that Iran deal is close to be done, and now there is some news of bombing happening. So honestly, nobody knows what's going on because seems like Iranian regime is posting different stuff than US government is. So nobody knows. In any case, all we can do is follow the momentum and trade accordingly because we just getting whipsawed throughout the week, like we saw on Tuesday, right? The SPX just dumped and recovered immediately. So beware of that. What I suggest to do in this kind of trading environment is you're going to trade with no stops and you're going to trade baskets, which means you buy portfolio of certain amount of names that have strong momentum and good signals, and you're going to have overall portfolio stop loss, or you're going to have really wide stops, right? So here we see Tuesday. It was a beautiful retest. I mean, look, this is book perfect flag. And we went higher. The issue is we did not get through the resistance of the previous high and we failed a little bit. You see the seller pressure on this candle. But again, it doesn't mean anything. We can go higher. Here are new support levels and resistance levels for tomorrow. Again, we might have a volatility increase, and as well, just pay attention to it. Market is grinding higher on the AI fever, I would say, but the Fed is just signaling already now that there is pretty much 50% chance that they might increase rates in case inflation keeps going higher. It's going to be hard to settle inflation before Iran war is settled because of course, people are struggling with higher oil prices, fertilizer prices. Of course, it's going to affect groceries and all that stuff. So it's not ideal situation. This is supply issue with oil. So you might see some oil going down, but even then the supply is not fixed because Strait of Hormuz is kind of not really opened. So a lot of chaos everywhere. Let's look at our app, TMAD app. Of course, these are our featured indices. We did not see any more call surge on the indices, right? We only see some call surge on SMH, which is semiconductors, and TQQQ. They had pretty good flow, but low relative volume, and we are also on the resistance right here. All right, so this is our featured. You can see in our app, this is like the most common ETFs and some names that we trade, right? The big guys, MU, Intel. Then of course some of them have to put surge. You have to be careful with those. Again, this is more shorter term. It doesn't mean that it's gonna dump for long term, but you need to be careful in the upcoming weeks. And then of course you see also some are in a really bad downtrend, such as Oracle, Microsoft, Meta, Baba. Doesn't mean you can't buy them and trade them. Of course, you just see the trend. So it means they are below 200 daily moving average. That's pretty much what this is showing. You can play reversals in case you see a stock that is at a support, and even though it's in a downtrend, it would have positive momentum and positive jacks and call surge that could signal it's in a bounce, right? We're going to look at those examples in our scanner. So let's look at our scanner. Of course, with the watch list, if you're a member of the app, you can create new watch lists and create your own. We have our trades right here. So these are our trades that we have opened, and let's go to scanner. So in scanner, you have universe of about 1200 stocks. We get data straight from NASDAQ, which is in real time on a lot of those names, a lot of those criteria. Some of them update after the close because it's truly no point of updating this throughout the day, right? Like RSI and stuff like that. Some of them are updating every couple of seconds. So you can find all the information here in help under getting started right here. And of course, you're going to see where everything is updating. So every 30 seconds, we have dashboard, the scanner, stock detail and price. every 15 minutes, we're gonna have update on total jacks and IVZ spread, right? They're computed every 15 minutes. Then, of course, every stock on the stock detail page, intraday chart, jacks by strike chart, and session stats and news are fetched fresh after close. Okay, so you can see all of this here, right? So I don't want to get deeply into that because I want to show you how to use the scanner. You have price change on that last day, Friday, score, which we implemented with our bot and our criteria, because sure, we can sit there and try to find the best looking setups, but why not program it and have it right there? Trend, momentum, this ideally needs to be positive, right? It's a very big indicator of bullish trend that the momentum is positive. When you hover around any of those, you're going to see what it means. So higher the better, right? Stronger trend will have higher numbers, positive numbers. If it's near zero, it's a weak or choppy momentum. You don't want to really be in those names, okay? RSI, this is just to see how overbought, oversold we are. So when you're around 80, you of course are overbought, but you can still play those because it's a condition that can last very long time. We have call surge on Cisco and Nokia, Intel, Rocket Lab, Zoom. Very strong positive jacks. The jacks change is also very positive. We have a little bit down on jacks, negative change, so it went lower. In last days of FTNT, also I looked at the chart on FTNT, looks amazing, but is extremely overstretched. So I would be careful with that one, would like to have some sort of a retest. We will get into it. So these are like the top names, right? When you click on each of those, and again, you can categorize it by score. Of course, if you want really awful score, you can just click on it. It will show you like the stuff that has the worst flow. So here, Tiger, for example, it's down 25%, score is 0, like it's the worst you find on the universe. Downtrend, terrible momentum, very low RSI, right? And jacks, negative. So extreme relative volume on the downside, which is good if you want to short. You can just check the chart and see what is happening. Okay, this name is just, oh my, something happened, right? So it's looking really badly. And you can check the chart, but a lot of people just use our app. So when you click on Tiger, you see that here you can zoom in and see. All right, so resistance is 760 and support weekly is 350. So they're almost close to weekly support where you could play the bounce. Of course, 5 is going to be also strong jacks wall and then puts down to 3. There is not much even flow into those strikes. So I think the 350, as you can see, is a good place to bounce. But again, I don't want to play this kind of names. I'm not interested. It had insane relative volume, right? So you can see it here, 340, 360 is a demand, okay? So you're almost there. But let's go back to scanner and look at the better names. Again, you can click here the strongest score, trend, and again, you want to have positive momentum, which in most of those names with the high scores you will, right? So again, like this positive momentum is going for a very long time. So you have a ton to choose from. But ideally, you have also call surge, you have positive jacks, you have all of this positive and relative volume more than one. Would be ideal as well. Okay, so this is very important and you can pick the names you like. As I said, these are the top names right here. So you look at the charts, you can click on Intel and now see again, sometimes you will see support is just grinding, is 98, so we are way above. And you see this gigantic jacks here, which is at 120. So we are right there. We need to overcome this resistance. You can zoom in here on 10 strikes and see 121. 125 is kind of like 11 million contracts positive. It has a very low relative volume, which this needs to improve for me to want to go long. Okay, you don't want to, if you know basics of trading, you need relative volume, but the news are really positive here too. And we have a very high call jacks and the historic jacks flow. So It doesn't look bad. If I would be just playing with this app, I would kind of ideally want to get about 120 and then go long. So let's look at the chart on Intel. All right. So yeah, we are chopping around, you can see. And this was our entry on last week. So we were planning for the breakout. We got skipped on Wednesday. Tuesday we retested. So a lot of our members are in. It's fine to wait for 120 breakout because we're right around there and see some momentum pick up and then go long to 133. That would be kind of the target. All right, that's how you can play it. But again, you can just play it with the options here and see. Let's look at more names. For example, here we have AMDL. This is lower relative volume, but we want to see. All right. So what is the data gonna say? So 60 is a huge resistance. As you can see, we are almost there. You can see here 58 is a giant gamma ball and 60 is right here. After that, you would go for higher strike 65, 70. Let's look here. We have call buying, which is a good sign. And 60 clearly is a big resistance and supply zone on daily and weekly. So you kind of want to make sure you get above the 60 because you just have a really strong resistance there. Okay, we can see here. So the 60 is like kind of the place to get above. You can enter here and have a stop. $5 I would say would be good because this is a volatile name, and then have your target at 70. $5 stop and aim to make $10, $15 just to free our trade. All right, so this scanner really helps you to find names very fast, so you don't have to go through all this universe. What it also helps you to find is the trend, because you want to make sure you're in a strong uptrend and strong momentum, because if you buy stocks with low momentum, the relative volume changes very fast. As I said, it's updating all the time, but the momentum score doesn't. So if you are buying stuff with negative momentum, you're going to most likely get chopped out, right? You're going to have names that are just not having ideal momentum and the breakouts can fail, you know. So let's look more here. It's already starting the negative. CMI is negative. You know, you start seeing this more and more here. TER is negative, Teradyne, also slow. Let's look at the chart. And again, oftentimes the chart might look good, but if you don't have positive momentum, you're going to most likely have fail. So like this, you could play the breakout here. A lot of people would be like, oh, let me play this. But again, if you do not have really strong momentum, the score is not ideal, you're going to have chop, and you can see it here. You see a lot of gamma, negative gamma across the board. So it's kind of like mixed bag, you know. Also momentum, negative, low relative volume. Yeah, news are, I wouldn't go to this chop. You don't want that. And the app helps you to decide about those things. The app helps you to want to trade something. You look, you say, no, I'm not. Why would I go trade something that has really good momentum? Okay, I hope this makes sense, my friends. The scoring system is right here. These are the top 10 for every day. A lot of people play the strategy. Again, this is not a financial advice. I'm not telling you to play this, but what we do and how we tested the both, we buy the top 10 and just hold it for 14 days, sell, and then the next morning open new one. So new batch is coming tomorrow, which is right here. We don't use stop loss, because again, we don't want to get stopped out. And quite frankly, if we would tank 10% on the overall portfolio, that's where the stop is. Let's see TXN. What is TXN doing? That looks nice. Is this the one? Oh, that doesn't seem Texas Instrument. Yeah, not this one. This is not. Sorry, that's a wrong. That's our 10-year treasury here, Texas Instruments. Oh my God, this name went crazy. Look at this breakout here. Yes, so this one looking good too. Just keeps going. Unbelievable, right? You can play the breakout here. If you are struggling, you can see here, yeah, 310. You want to get above 310. That's a giant wall, which is going to be a little bit of price digestion. Go up, planning 320, 330 easily with a stop at 300. Okay, makes sense because here you have another support, and if you look at this here, 300 makes sense. That would be a good stop. So again, 310 entry, 299 stop, and 330 target. Okay. All right, my friends, I think that's it for today. Hope you liked it. Please subscribe to our channel. Get the app. It's $49 a month. We're gonna be increasing the price because it's absolutely fabulous engineering, which also with the membership you get our Substack. They are connected, so you get Substack, you get the app. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Hit the like, please, share, and see you next time. Bye.